Welcome back to the channel. As you guys probably can tell by the thumbnail, today we're going to be talking about our second episode for the funded doc series. So as usual, I'm going to be describing, give you guys a preface of essentially what everything that have happened since the last video, and pretty much give you guys a recap and update as far as for where currently all the account that I'm currently managing is standing at. And I'm going to be extremely transparent, because obviously this series wouldn't really matter if I'm not as transparent as possible, show you guys the good and the bad side. So that's why I named this video the good, the bad, and the ugly. So episode number 2 for this funded doc series. So since last time, remember the first episode I talked about how I already got about 15,000 in payout from Top Step. So since then, I'm gonna first go to the good, and I'm gonna tackle the bad and some of the ugly as well. So since that 15,000 payout, remember I told you that I was kind of in the process of waiting for another payout of 5,000. So I got that payout for 5,000, and I got 2 more payouts for about 3,000 each. Essentially, I'm just gonna round them up. They were probably like 3,100 or 3,000, I think 3,400 as well. And the 5,000 was a $5,200 payout. So total together, I would probably say it's right around 11,000 additionally that I have requested from Top Step, yes, since the last episode, right? I'm gonna go in order, right? And I'm gonna talk about the bad and the ugly. The bad and the very ugly is that on some of my Apex accounts, uniquely Apex account, I have tilted heavily and actually blown most of my funded account with Apex, right? I think I have about 10 account with them, if I'm not mistaken, and I currently have about maybe 3 account left. Well, I think it has to do with the way I have acquired some of those accounts when I was essentially trading in the evaluation stage. One thing that I have told people when they ask me for advice in terms of like how I manage some of my account, I always say that the way that you pass an evaluation is everything, right? Getting to evaluation stage is not the goal. It's actually how you get to funding stage, I should say. Getting to funding stage is not the goal. The way that you get to funding stage is actually what matters the most. So one thing that I noticed with my evaluation from Apex is that I was not actually being very much, I was not respecting my rules essentially for trading. I was pretty much over leveraging to obviously pass some of those accounts in one day, because they had that one day special where you could pass most of those Apex accounts in one day. And one thing I didn't realize was that by doing so, I carried over a lot of bad habits that I was not able to get rid of once I started moving into the funding stage. However, I did not see that issue with Top Step when I was managing my Top Step account. One of the things with Top Step is that for you to be able to withdraw from them, you need to do, I think, about $200 in profit minimum per day. And I was able to do that consistently because I built a habit just with Top Step. And the fact that I'm able to withdraw much faster with Top Step allowed me to have much more of an abundance mindset, because I knew that once I made that money, I would not essentially lose it. So there'll be a lot of things that have caused me to lose some of those Apex accounts. I'm going to dive more into that actually for this episode. For example, some of those Apex accounts, I was up about 4,000. Some of them I was up like 4,500. I think one account I was even up 6,000. I still blown those accounts. Definitely over trading and over leveraging in some of those instances. But beyond that, I was just not trading my system at all. I was not focusing on my windows of delivery, focusing on my A+ setup, and focusing on letting my edge actually brave it and operate the way they're supposed to. Because if I didn't have an edge, I wouldn't be getting payout, from Top Step. So obviously there was something that I was doing with Apex that I was not doing with obviously Top Step. And I think that was the fact that I was over leveraging. And because Top Step has a different way of paying out people, I think it took me a while to adjust to the reality that Apex is pretty much not going to be a firm that I have to think the same way like I think with Top Step. I have to be a lot more patient, and I have to accept the fact that once I get to the point where I meet all the requirements and I make the request for payout, I have to be okay not trading for a long period of time. So Apex, even if I do decide to go back and then continuously manage the Apex account, I most definitely not going to now I have to make sure I understand that I cannot trade the entire month, right? Also with Apex, they have spread out period of time. You can only get paid out, I think, once or twice a month, right? So you get paid out the middle of the month, between the 15th and the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, and you also get paid out the 1st to the 5th of the month. So you make your request around that period of time. So you make your request, let's say for example, you meet all the requirement, 10 trading days, 30% consistency rule, and you meet the minimum balance to be able to withdraw. You will have to, let's say if you meet that requirement on the 14th, you have to wait on the 15th to the 20th to make that request, and then for that request, you receive your payout the next month on the 1st to the 5th, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me on that, but it's typically going to be 2 weeks from the time when you request it. And for me, I think that's something that I had to adjust again. It's just like I had to be okay with the fact that it is completely different. I'm not going to be able to receive that money right away. That was just one of the things that really hurt me. But beyond that, I was definitely not following my rules, right, on managing some of those Apex. And I seen that bleed over to one of my account actually with TopStep as well, although I was able to get some of the payout. So those are some of the bad and the ugly, right, that have happened since the last video. So I want to share the both sides. I want to show you guys everything. Right now with Apex, I'm 100% sure I have 2 to 3 accounts left. 100% sure I have about 2 to 3 accounts left that I have funded with them. So give or take, I have about, with them, let's put it at 300k, right? Let's put 300k. With TopStep, currently I just got max allocated. Actually today, I just got max allocated with TopStep, so I have 450k. So I have about, I would say, give or take, I have about 700,000. I would say 700,000, yeah, under management right now. So I went from $1.8 million to 750k account under management. Now, how do I feel about this, and how was I able to overcome, right? Because obviously this happened about 3 weeks ago, when some of those accounts kept getting blown, and I was just tilting heavily. And also one thing I told myself, I was not going to activate more than 3 accounts at a time when managing the Apex account. But unfortunately, I activated more accounts per week, so that made me even lose more accounts than I was supposed to. So some of those weeks I was just tilting a lot of the time. And the reason why I want to be open and honest about this is because a lot of the people out there online will share only the good side, right, about trading. Everything that's sunshine, rainbow, and everything is perfect. But the reality is this: even as a consistent trader, you can still tilt, right? You have things in your life. I have things in my life that have impacted me, personal life stuff, and it have really impacted me in the way that I have traded in the last probably 4 or 5 weeks. So I had to be aware of that and understand how those things can impact my trading. I had situation with family, things that, business that had issue and stuff like that. I had to consistently be aware, and then my mindset, I had to be aware of how those things impact my mindset. So another thing that I want to point out here in this video is that you have to also be aware of how do you react to win versus loss. A person I'm going to link into this video that helped me tremendously, because this is how I was able to flip my mind and then get max allocated with TopStep, by fixing some of the things that I was doing. Because when I was trading my window, I would win, but it was not the fact that whether or not I was winning or losing in my window. I was very consistent in my window. I have an 80%, 85% win rate in my window. I think over the last 4 weeks that have actually increased. But where I was falling short was simply not over trading, meaning that after I was done trading for the day, meaning mainly for New York session, in Asia, I would force myself to see things that are not there. In London, I would force myself to see things that are not there, and I found myself trading the entire day. And as a trader, you don't want to be in that position, right? You don't want to be over trading. Therefore, there's a guy that I found, right, Pat Bellenew. I'm going to link his video in the description here. One of the person that really helped me understand what was going on with my mindset and everything else when it comes down to trading. I realized that if you focus so much on the win by itself, right? You win, you go out there, you boast about it, and then you just share the win, you don't share the loss. What's going to happen is that it's going to create a certain level of pride in your mindset, right? You're going to feel as if you are, like a godlike figure, right? You're going to feel great about yourself to a certain degree, where it's going to almost put you above the market next time when you come back to trade. And what's that going to do for you is it's not going to allow you to see the risk of trading. See, growing up, we are taught to essentially think about winning as something good and losing as something bad. But in trading, both of those two things are the same thing, right? But when we win, have you realized a lot of people will get excited? They'll feel energized. They'll be elated, right, about the win. And then guess what happened? when you do that enough time, especially for people that are very much consistent profitable trader, you will find yourself in a position where you start ignoring the risk when you come back to the market. You start becoming blind to the risk. And then next thing you know, you do things that you're not supposed to be doing because you don't see what's called the real market. What you see is a virtual market. And Pat Bailey, the guy that I talked about, actually is someone that I learned this from. So you have to realize that there's always going to be two markets that you're going to see. You're going to see the virtual market, you're going to see the real market. See, when you have that pride, right, when you feel like everything, you can accomplish anything, you don't see the risk, what you're seeing is the virtual market, because now you have confirmation bias that you add an indicator on the chart, you add some Fibonacci on the chart to justify why the move that you are looking at has to win, has to work out. And instead of just looking at the market, looking at the real market, the market is chaotic, it's unpredictable, it is beautiful, it's ugly, it is everything and nothing, right? It's imperfect and perfect. Nobody can predict, right? All you can do is anticipate and look for confirmation. And if you have an edge, that edge is going to consist of win and losses. And if you can allow yourself to see the real market for what it is, rather than the virtual market for what you think or what you want the market to be, that's where you will find the consistency. So it's a combination of your edge, right? Being able to have an actual edge when it comes down to trading, but also being able to consistently repeat that edge, mastering your psychology. And that was one of the biggest things that caused me to lose some of those accounts. Not being aware of that, because I can mention all those other rules in regards to how Apex operates, but primarily was me, right? Was my mindset, the way that I was managing those accounts. That was the biggest issue, and how I was thinking about all those things that I mentioned. So I hope maybe you guys can relate to what I'm mentioning right now, and then you guys can take from that and learn, right? And go with that, and then maybe make a difference in your own trading life. As far as for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I have been extremely consistent, getting back on track and being able to continuously build more account under management. The goal for me, like I mentioned in my prior video, is to continuously just accumulate account under management, so I have true abundance when it comes down to account that I'm managing. And over time, I want to build a system where I'm mainly focusing on the process. So as for now, that's the good, bad, and ugly. Next up, I'm going to go in the chart. I'm going to show you guys some of the account. I currently passed my TopStep account. I don't have any Apex account right now that I have activated. Most of them that I talked about already fell. So I'm mainly going to be showing you guys the TopStep account. One of my TopStep is currently down, a little bit down bad. I think it's down around $1,000 or $800 right now. So that's one of my funded, the one that I currently have been getting a bunch of payout. So once that went down, when I was in the process of tilting and going through everything that I was going through, I decided to focus on just the evaluation accounts. So that's what I've been focusing on, and finally I was able to get max allocated with TopStep. So now I'm in a position where with TopStep, that's really the firm that I really want to be focusing on, because with them I can consistently churn out payout every week or every other week, depending on what the market gives me essentially. So yeah, next when I go into the chart, I'm gonna go into my computer. I'm gonna be going over some of those things, showing you guys some of those screenshot and from prior payout and things like that, email wise, because I don't think in TopStep account they don't save any of the payout in the dashboard logins or anything like that. They mainly have it via email. So I'll go into my email, I'll arrange it so you guys can see the email and everything else. I'll reload the page and everything else in between. For this episode, that's really what I wanted to talk about, guys. Give you guys an update. So you guys have now a brand new count of all the account that I have under management. I'll probably slap it somewhere in the thumbnail so you guys can essentially see the total amount that I have currently that I manage. Besides that, yeah, the biggest lesson for today is that be skeptical to a certain degree about yourself and anything that you see online. Remember that people will always put their best foot forward, right? But at the end of the day, there's always going to be a true side to everything. True side to everything. Even the best trader are going to have the worst time, the bad days, the bad weeks, the bad months, right? Although I have had a significant amount of account that I lost, obviously that's not ideal. I still made 11,000 additional since last time, and specifically for the month of February, probably sitting around 6,000 maybe to 11,000, give or take, from the last counting from the last time my last payout. So far for this year, I'm currently sitting around $26,000 that I made so far this year. But yeah, so I'm it's going well as far as for that. But obviously, you need funded account to be able to perform those feats and continuously repeat that over and over. So it's important as much to get those payouts to also maintain those accounts in a healthy manner. So the mindset is important to be able to do that consistently. So with that said, that's the episode for today. Next up, we're going to go in the chart, and I'm going to go over every single thing that's account, proof, all the stuff, you name it. So you guys can see exactly what I have done. You guys know the drill. All right, let's go. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys exactly some of the payout that I have gotten since the last request that I made. So I think. So yeah, this was the first one right here. This was the $5,150. So this was the payout that I did back in January 15 after the 15K payout. So that was one of the first payout. The next payout was this one right here. Next one was 3,100. So about 8,000, 300 give or take in total request here. And I'm going to go a little bit forward, backward and forward. Same thing, same difference. And I'm going to see if I can find the last one, the very last one. This is the very last payout that I made a request from my account, from TopStep. So total, guys, it's about $11,000 since my last 15K payout withdrawal. So I'm going to go my TopStep account right now. So here's my account. These are the account that I just passed today on TopStep. So currently 159,000 passed. All the account. This one I kind of passed it relatively fast. Essentially today I think I did about 4,400. Yesterday I didn't really trade. There was a small trade that I had running, but I ended up closing it in my break even. And before that I did, I think on last week, I think it was another day that I did that. Let me see here. The Express account that I have right now is, like I mentioned, somewhere around $700 to $800, somewhere around that range right now. Yep, somewhere around that range right now, 700. This Express account, they had to open a new account, so you may not see all my record here, but I know it only shows 3 profitable days, but they had to close one of my other account that I had before because they had discrepancy, like those issue glitch happening in the system, so they had to close that and open a new account for me. So they essentially wipe all my record that I have with them, but they're still gonna hold the profitable days that I have from that account onto this one. So at least that's the only thing that I'm kind of happy about. So I'm gonna keep those. And essentially with this account, I remember I told you about that, not the performance, right? Some of those days that I did not really do well. Just being upfront here, there was a day where I tilted heavily. That was February 5th. That was actually recently, where I traded Asian session, and same thing. And the next day I came in, I didn't recalibrate my brain. After those 2 days, I had to like take a pause, right? But up until this point, I was fairly doing well. I was doing relatively well with this account for the most part. So right now I'm going to take it slow, rebuilding this account and making sure that I can build it back up to a healthy level. And I'm just going to be focusing on the process and executing. So other 2 accounts that I have, I'll be able to also start building those, properly. The biggest thing with me when it comes down to managing this account is ensuring that I'm not over leveraging and over trading. Those are the most important things. So this is currently the setup affair with this account. I do think I'm going to be able to properly manage this and properly grow this consistently. I have now a Discord where I trade, I live trade every morning. I think that's also going to help me tremendously stay on the course. So over the last few days, I have been primarily focusing on the TopStep evaluations account. So that's why I was able to kind of pass those. I didn't really put too much emphasis on the funded account as much. But I wanted to just reiterate again, all this that I have done in the last month and a half, you can make as much money and do whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're not consistently maintaining your habits and maintaining the bad impulses, right? Because I know I'm not supposed to trade New York, for example, but after New York. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to trade after New York, but unfortunately, I went ahead and traded after New York on some of those trades that I showed you guys on some of those bad days where I had essentially like really bad days. And guess what? Took me significantly lower. And although this account has pumped me damn near 26,000 since the beginning of this year, if I'm not careful, I run the risk of losing it, which is not going to happen. I think I'll be able, from the mindset that I have right now, I should be able to maintain this. But you guys will find out on the next episode of this funded docu series. I'll try to release one episode every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm probably trying to do it more consistent over time as time goes by. As I find maybe someone that can do a proper editing of these videos and help me save time, because I have other things that I try to do on the side as well. So I'm trying to trade and maintain consistency. But overall, that's all I have for you guys today. Today was, like I said, I wanted to go through the good, the bad, and then the very ugly. My goal is not to put myself on a pedestal where you guys, like, people idolize me to the point where it's like, oh, he can't do no wrong. No, I'm human. I'm just like you guys. I tilt. Sometimes I'll go on to a period of time where I do things that I'm not supposed to be doing or do dumb stuff. And as a trader, that's part of the journey. You're going to have to figure out how to freaking stop doing those things. And then that's actually what makes the journey worthwhile. By the time when you become a consistent, disciplined trader, guess what? You deserve that money. Once you make, when you guys get to the point where you guys are making 100,000, 200,000, you look back and be like, man, I'm so proud of this version of myself for going through this and then being real about that and moving forward from then. And remember, ever since I've been a kid and growing up, even in high school or in college, one thing I always try to make sure that I do is I cannot lead other people if I cannot lead myself, right? So one thing I learned, it was actually a beautiful story that I learned from one of my old uncle. He told me this. He said, most leaders in the world are not called to lead. Most leaders in the world lead themselves. And when there's a problem, when there's something that cannot be resolved, but by their assistance, that's when they are requested. And that's the way I say about leading. It's all up. When I think about leader, because I think of myself as a leader, I think about leading myself to be consistent, to be transparent, and being real, because that will encourage other people, and hopefully in this industry, encourage other traders as well to be more transparent and share their pain, the good and the bad, so people can see the clear image of what is it like to actually trade and to be a consistent and profitable traders. So that's it, guys. That's really all I have for you today. That's the end of the episode. It was a little bit less longer compared to the very first one. I'm going to try to keep it around 18 to 22 minutes. I'll try to drop some stuff, that valuable stuff in between each episode as I give you guys a detailed recollection of my journey. And with that said, that's really all I have for you today, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.